Ladies and gentlemen, may I request a moment of silence so that Mr. Amit can continue with his presentation, please?
Good afternoon, distinguished members in the audience, senior colleagues, and my dear friends. First of all, congratulations for the 72nd Constitutional Day. In the last panel discussion or the speech of Honorable Minister, he touched upon a very important point of legal inclusion, that how the poor and the marginalized section of the society can get access to legal services. So before I start, I would like to ask a question, and you can take your best guess, that what percentage of the global population has access to legal services? It's only 20%. 80% of the global population doesn't even have access to legal services. The United States, which has the highest numbers of lawyers per capita, which is about one lawyer in every 200 citizens, still has 80% of its population that cannot access legal services. In India, there's about one lawyer per 1,800 people. And globally, we are talking about 4 billion people who have no access, as per United Nations, to legal services. We always talk about financial inclusion, and we know that how mobile technologies and digital technology has enabled leaps and progress around financial inclusion in our country. Today, I would like to share how new technologies and innovation can drive legal inclusion, but also change fundamental concepts such as trust, contracts, and access to justice. Some of these technologies are fueling up rapid change, especially in the startup space in India around legal technologies. And some new technologies are also posing serious challenges in the way we interpret these technologies, how the law will deal with these technologies. But at the same time, these technologies have a potential to become a solution in the future. There are various new developments which I could list here, but for the sake of brevity, I'll focus on 3 technologies that are impacting, previous slide, that are impacting the legal space and will pose challenges as well in the future. The metaverse, we all know that it's a significant focus area these days. One of the largest social media company has now renamed itself as Meta. Artificial intelligence in legal, and blockchain in legal. In the past couple of years, 2 technologies especially have garnered a lot of attention, which is artificial intelligence, or you can call it advanced analytics, and blockchain. Both of these technologies might turn out to be a boon for the legal space. And the metaverse is still evolving, but it's an evolving concept and a rapid evolving concept fueled by the pandemic. So we could have heard about the metaverse maybe in 2024, 25, but because of the pandemic, there has been accelerated development in this space, and we'll see the development 4 or 5 years ahead of time. Next slide. And before I delve into these technologies in a bit detail, I'd like to show you how any new technologies goes through a life cycle. When there is initial awareness, there's a lot of confusion. Then there is industry adoption. So the industry generally goes ahead of the regulation and adopts technologies. Some technologies don't see light of the day because they fail at the time of industry adoption. But some technologies, like what we are discussing today, get adopted. There are some success stories. There's a lot of press coverage, global coverage, and then the regulators spin in action. Generally, regulators are on a reactionary mode with some of these new technologies. And then, at the end, there is solutioning, where these technologies that pose a challenge to the regulators and to the legal system eventually become part of the solution. Let's look at metaverse. Metaverse is nothing but when the physical and virtual merge. We all know during our childhood or even today, and we see people playing video games. So they're accessing a virtual world through a two-dimensional screen, enacting a character which is moving around in a free world, doing things. I can give you an example of Grand Theft Auto, which is the world's most famous free world, virtual, physical gaming experience, which comes close to metaverse. But when multiple humans take characters or avatars in a new virtual world and interact with each other, it becomes a metaverse. However, there are certain challenges that the metaverse poses. For example, how would you determine intellectual property ownership if I create something in the metaverse? For example, Nike already has launched its own metaverse where you can buy Nike shoes in its digital form in a metaverse at the same price of what you would pay for a physical shoe. Sounds absurd, but it's really picking up because there are a lot of youngsters who are attending music festivals on the metaverse, which happened very recently. 200 million people attended a music festival recently on the metaverse, and a lot of them had to buy clothes and shoes to wear and appear uniquely as an avatar on the digital space, interact with other fellow attendees, and they were buying these stuff. Now, any creator who creates a similar goods, digital goods or assets on the metaverse, how would you ensure intellectual property around it? Anybody can copy and create a replica of it. Copyright infringement, again, is linked to that. Anything can be created on a metaverse digitally by developers, and everybody has free access. There are multiple metaverses, so somebody copies concepts and content from one metaverse. Say, for example, you are into a Facebook metaverse, attending a conference. We all are virtual, right? Everybody has a digital face. We are moving around, maybe on a two-dimensional screen, talking to each other. There is audio and video like we do in Microsoft Teams or Zoom, right? I'm wearing a suit. I bought this digitally. It's not free because you still need to wear clothes and you have an option of buying to look good. I think that's the future because we'll have both digital and physical personalities, a digital wardrobe and a physical wardrobe. So intellectual property also becomes a big challenge. How do you identify and enforce and take legal remedy around it? Fraudulent transactions. If any of you has watched this TV show Big Bang Theory, you know that the key character Sheldon Cooper lost all his assets in a virtual world, and a hacker stole them, right? And that's a big challenge on the digital world. How do you protect the assets from fraudulent transactions? Collaboration and interoperability between different developers and metaverses. So as I said, there'll be hundreds and thousands of different metaverses. How do everybody act and are interoperable with each other? And then, of course, license rights for building technologies on the metaverse. But of course, there are a lot of problems. It's a new technology. But what if I give you an example of how this could be useful? Imagine a murder trial, and imagine if the police can recreate the entire crime scene on the metaverse. Because the metaverse has its own physical engine. The physics around the metaverse are all linked to the graphical processor unit of the computer. It's pure physics. So if there was a bullet mark on the wall in the metaverse, you can exactly recreate how the bullet would have come at what velocity and from what direction to create that mark. And you can't do that. I mean, you can, of course, do that the way we do traditionally, but then it involved human judgment. It's subjective. But in the metaverse, a crime scene can be recreated exactly the way it was. The LiDAR scanner, which is Apple's IP. A LiDAR scanner can sense, detect the exact space as it is, convert it into the digital space instantly. You all have it on your iPhone 13 and above. If you look at artificial intelligence, it has profound impact already on the legal space. When we did our research, we found tremendous amount of acceptability in the overseas market. Even in India, certain startups are using artificial intelligence to enhance the legal systems and processes. For example, there is a startup in India now that allows you to search through different case laws around the world and instantly come up with the sections in the contract that should be relevant for you. And this has been used for past couple of years, at least in the US, as I'm aware. But now there's a startup in India doing this. Automated contract review, so we are constantly doing that now. Earlier, when we were helping law firms and GCs in forensically collecting documents and emails from cloud, from mobile devices, from laptops, there'd be millions of documents and emails, and there were not enough human resources available in the cost constraint and the time constraint who could review every single document and email. So sampling would take place. But now with AI or assisted review or supervised learning, as we call it, the experts or the lawyers would review a sample set of documents generated by the email, which are unique in themes and categories as identified by the engine. And based on that review, lawyers would tag the documents and emails as relevant and not relevant. And then the system uses that learning to apply that learning across all documents and emails. And it's been fairly accurate and sometimes even better than what paralegal would do in that short amount of time. And it's widely accepted in the US, for instance. And last but not the least, imagine there are simple legal service